Warning, this podcast is intended for consenting adults. We're talking about all things non-monogamy, which means some of our conversations are going to get down and dirty. Please know we are not professionals, and these are strictly our views and opinions and in no way represent the opinions of our employers. We respect others' opinions as we know everyone in the world of non-monogamy does it differently. Hope you enjoy. Hello, my salacious friends, and welcome to another episode of Pinky and Ava's Pajama Party. I'm your host, Ava Moore, and I'm here with my soul sister, Pinky Greyman.
Hello, hello, my salacious friends. Ha! I did it again.
That's my line.
I know.
She's stealing my salaciousness. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, so anytime I'm sending an email to somebody, we're working with, and I'm putting it Pinky Greyman and her salacious team, FYI. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
excellent branding.
Yes.
Excellent branding.
Thank you.
I think we're all quite salacious, so that's very fitting.
I miss recording.
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's been such a long time because we got so far ahead of ourselves. So it's like we're reunited and it feels so good.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'm a little out of practice.
Me too. I'm rusty. I'm like, holy moly, how do we usually do this?
Oh my goodness. Well, we have an excellent topic to discuss today. And it's kind of a myth that some dudes just can't wrap their minds around. And it's just because I'm non-monogamous doesn't mean I'm going to fuck anybody. And I'm not going to fuck you.
Exactly.
What do you think, Vicky?
There is definitely not fuck anybody processing going on after I said to myself, when my hubby and I open up our relationship, I'll have 77 fucking dicks in my mouth at the same time. Definitely not happening.
Well, I mean, you could still have 77 dicks, but you're going to be selective about who those 77 dicks are.
I need 77 pussies for that shit. Jesus Christ.
Listen,
I only got one.
Mr. Jones offered to be one of your 77, if you remember correctly,
yes,
on our episode. So you only got 76 more to go.
Well, I have a couple around, but,
You have dicks flying around you all the time, as you like to say.
No, I would disagree. I definitely slow down.
You've gotten much better.
I'm not on the apps anymore. If I do connect, I can connect through the community of like-minded people, and it's been fucking amazing. It's such a shift. Oh my God. I know that the apps are there for a reason, and I actually don't put them down because that's how I met my husband, and it works. If it does, it does. But it's an overall, it gave me such an anxiety.
Well, you made it your full-time job on top of your full-time job.
I don't know what it is. How is it not I have no idea how. I think, I have ADHD undiagnosed. Okay. So it's it's impossible mission. Go ahead.
So, and I kind of think even some of the people on the apps who say they are non-monogamous also think that we'll just fuck them because we're open and non-monogamous. But I think that's, for the two of us anyway, that is not how we roll. I mean, will I go to a party and have sex with somebody that I just bumped into? Sure. That's the exception at this point and not the rule. Mm-hmm. And I think some men in the lifestyle, not all of them, and definitely the men who are not non-monogamous, think once they find out I'm non-monogamous, that I'm just going to jump in bed with them.
Yeah. And we can tell stories.
We've got plenty.
Yes, we got plenty. And I want to be careful because the topic is, we want to shine the reality of it, that the reality, the way we do, this is how we do it. Not everybody does it like that, but the way we do it, we talk about being authentic selves, having boundaries, and respect.
Yeah, I mean, we're not shaming people who just are in it for the hookup. I mean, I've had plenty of those. Like I said, I've been at parties where I just bump into somebody and I land in bed with them. So that's completely fine. But I also have a choice in when I bump into them, whether or not I'm going to have sex with them. Like I've said no to people, even in those situations where you're just like ripping your clothes off and fucking as much as you can. I've still been selective in those moments. And many times men are fine with that. But I have had instances where they're like, you were just fucking him. Why aren't you going to fuck me?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that we have to talk more about it in the way that it's positive. Like I just really want to stay positive. But we're going to have stories.
Would you like to share one of your stories?
Yeah. I am in the process of publishing my first poetry book. And it's been a long journey, even more.
Oh, I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of poems over and over and over again to get it where it is today. And you're almost there, my friend.
I am very much almost there. And the book is about the journey of me being in an open relationship with my husband. And the introduction. The second, the third, and the fourth books are going to be very erotica based. And yeah, so it's going to be like 15 to 20 poems. And that's it.
And let me tell you, I've previewed all of them and they are spicy, hot, hot, hot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the end of the second book, when it's going to come out, I want all the dicks in the world standing up.
I have no doubt you'll at least have 77 dicks standing up.
At least. I hope it's going to be more than 77 dicks.
More than 77. You'll have more than 77 dicks standing up and lots of pussies that are dripping wet.
Oh my God, I'm ready for the action, right?
Yes. So you might become part of their foreplay. Who knows?
Ooh, I love that.
You like that idea?
That's the beauty of it. Like it's definitely get the juices going and allowing yourself flow and just be in the moment. And that is something that we women have struggles. I mean, I know I've had my share of it. That's why sometimes when I do get involved, not all the time, but I do like to take a joint and smoke a little bit and just get a little bit of, fun and excitement, kind of a flow in my body. And everything is just like easy. And not to say that it's not easy without it, because I can do without it and I do it without it a lot. But I do like that glow of, I don't know how to explain. It's just really, really smooth glow. And you're just like really more aware of your senses. Definitely. That's what it is. I'm much more aware of my senses. Yeah.
I think it's something you enjoy more because you never really explored that until recently. So it's definitely something different for you. I've never explored it at all. So I can't understand that. Who knows? Never say never. But instead of using a joint, I think people are going to be able to use your poems to get that flow and sensation going. And on top of that, we all know Pinky has that salacious voice. And she is turning her poetry book into an audio book as well.
Yes. So that's where the story gets a little juicier. Thanks for bringing it home. Love it.
Of course.
Usually it's hubby's, job.
Well, he's not here. So, somebody's got to do it.
I know I'm that dreamer, right? That just like flies high and you're like, just like a kite, when it's too high, you just have to roll it back.
Reel it in.
Have you ever done kite when you were a kid?
Yes, and it was an epic failure every single time. But I was actually at a barbecue recently, and it was the first time in my life that I actually saw like 6 very successful kite flying. It was awesome.
We should do it. I think we should do it. Yeah.
You should totally do it.
We should do it this summer. Okay. And I think your kid is going to love it.
Oh my God, she's going to so love it.
Yeah. Okay. So I found a person who has a recording studio in his house. And I was so excited because we talked prior to me going to his place, because it has to be in the house, right? I have to go in there physically. It cannot be virtual recording of my poems because of the studio aspect. So I went there a couple of times, and it was one of the, well, maybe I'm overly dramatic. Okay, I've never done that before. That's a foreign language, okay? Publishing a book, it's hard. Anything new is hard. So I remember how much I don't know how Eva is still talking to me, because I drove this beautiful goddess how do you say it? What's the word for it?
Bananas,
Bananas, right?
bonkers,
Bunkers, bananas.
crazy,
Yeah,
insane,
like,
all of the above.
so I feel sorry. I'm sorry. I love you, and
I was happy to do it.
I'm not sure if you were happy a lot of times, but you were doing it.
I did it, but I was happy to help. How's that?
Thank you. And now if anybody needs to guidance how to write a poem, come to me. I'll guide you through it, because now you don't need to rely on your friends. You just have to outsource everything, which is so much better, right? And it's so inexpensive, you know, so there's tools over there, and obviously
There's professionals who can do it instead of me sitting in a parking lot waiting for my kid to come out of sports practice, reading the same poem over and over again 67 times.
Not 77, 67.
77, 67.
69 is my favorite, but if you want to stick to 67, it's totally fine.
You know what? After I said 67, in my brain, I went, ugh, I should have gone 69. So we are on the same wavelength here.
Love it. And the best way to do 69 is?
Sideways.
Yes. Thank you very much. Proceed. The experience was not excruciatingly painful. It's the guy who I was working with. Because, again, why are we talking about this? Because the assumption outside of people who are actually practicing ENM, ethical non-monogamy, or consensual, I love calling consensual non-monogamy now, he couldn't understand where I was coming from. So, of course, I had to, before I went to visit him, I explained to him what we do. We have a podcast. It's a sex podcast. I'm recording this book for audience to know what my background is and, you know, my story and everything. Okay, so everything is great. He could handle it. So far, he's good. Until I got to his house. And then it just got really weird because he really liked me a lot from the moment I walked in, you know, like you can see, you know. And progressively, it got so uncomfortable that I could not record my poems. I was so flustered. First of all, the first time when we did it, it took longer, you know. Long story short, I was trying to, every time I would come out of the room, out of the bunker, you know, where you record, because it's a soundproof room, I would probably come out every 15 minutes or so, because I need to catch a breath. I need to relax, because it's intense. I've never done, again, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, I'm not sorry, but I have never done that before. I've done the podcast, I can talk my ass off. I have never recorded professionally. This was my introduction to my poetry world, right? And that was so not cool. So every time I would come out, he would assume that it's okay for him to calm me down by hugging me and, you know, having his hand across my back, like just cuddling me, you know, in a way that I was not really ready for it. What I wanted from this 15 minutes, for those few minutes that I needed to decompress, is quiet and not to be overwhelmed.
You wanted to breathe and he was touching you without your consent.
Long story short, the second time I went there, he asked me to pay him extra. And then by almost the end of my project, maybe like 3-4 poems before I was ending, he was yelling at me because I could not pronounce, because I was so nervous. I was nervous to record. I was nervous to be in this room. You know, I mean, he's still a stranger. He's not going to do anything to me. I was nervous about that. But the whole process was just so emotionally charged. And then his recording studio, like his mic would sometimes not come in. So he would come and he would scream in the mic, and I have a headset in, right? So he would yell and bang his equipment, and it's all resonated in my ears. Oh my God, I wanted to die.
Do you think his frustration was coming from the fact that you weren't giving him what he wanted?
That's exactly where I was going to. He assumed that because I was explaining to him in the beginning like a human, right? The first time I went there, you know, I was telling him like, we have a podcast, my husband and I are in an open relationship. And he was like, tell me more and whatever. It was all normal, right? And then actually he bought me breakfast. You know, he met me first at the store, at the coffee shop. He brought me food, you know, like, so he fed me, whatever, and then he took me in. And
that was Ava's red flag right there. When he said, meet me for breakfast first, I said, Pinky, I don't think you want to do that.
I know. I didn't have any preconceived ideas. I just thought, oh my God, okay, he's a nice guy,
Mhm.
Obviously, there are different guys. There are different
And
men
wasn't
out there.
there lots of touching throughout this whole kind of process? He
Yes,
was kind of trying to condition you
definitely.
to have sex with him somewhere down the road.
Yes.
And then when you wouldn't have sex, he started getting angry and he started charging you more money. Now, this wasn't the first time something like this happened, because the person you spoke to
Oh my God.
before him,
Oh my God. I
you
forgot.
met with Anthony,
Yes.
and he was trying to negotiate with Anthony to have sex with you in return for helping you with your project. So we're now on the second person who is supposed to be a professional helping Pinky record her book, who's expecting sex from her just because she's non-monogamous.
Yes, I totally forgot about that experience. That was another really, really bad experience. And Anthony and I have met him in a restaurant, and I was appalled. Like, Anthony went to a bathroom, and I turned him down, and Anthony came back, and he still asked Anthony if I can fuck him. And Anthony looked at me. He's like, it's up to her. She's her own self. And he couldn't understand that. He just totally looked at us. He's like, I don't really understand. And I'm like, well, we have ethical barriers and boundaries, and I am a human, and it's not what he wants. It's about what I want. And it's all about how I feel, so he couldn't understand that. So yeah, but that's just maybe those two guys, just
people, right?
those two people. And I had enough of it. So afterwards, when I finished recording with the guy, I actually reached out to him again because I wanted to bring him something nice.
Ava said, don't do it, but
And
continue.
I had such a gut instinct of telling me he does not deserve your attention. You don't owe him anything. You paid him for his service. And if he underestimates this project, it's on him. And I never did. And I never went. And I felt so good. Every time I was passing his house, remember? I would be like, I don't feel like going there. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't want it. And I always come up with some kind of excuse like, dude, you know what? I stayed a little longer at my house, whatever, my friend's house. And I'm going to come back and see you later, whatever.
And can we point out, he never actually finished the project.
He never finished
because
the project.
he was so angry that you wouldn't sleep with him, and then he started charging you more money that you finally said fuck it and you walked away.
Yeah, I did.
And you had to go find somebody else to finish the project.
Yes. He was obnoxious. So he was telling me like it takes hours to do what you want to do. So I outsourced the project, and it came out amazing.
Right. It was done so quick and for a fraction of what he wanted to charge you.
Oh my God, it was definitely and no hassle, no sweat under my armpits, which I really don't sweat, but this experience was not a healthy experience for me. And it came from this area that we're trying to discuss, is that just because I am in an ethical non-monogamy, it does not mean that I'm going to fuck anything that moves.
Right. And I think that's a misconception. And I think everybody has their boundaries and their rules and their guidelines and their preferences. And when people hear you're non-monogamous, they think all of that just goes out the window. While Pinky was dealing with all of this, I was reached out by someone that we had a, what should I call it, friends with benefits relationship, like over a decade ago. They never go away. They always keep in touch. But anyway, so he reached out and he's like, hey, would love to see you, would love to get together. And I felt like I needed to be honest with him. And I said, listen, since we last saw each other, I've entered the world of non-monogamy. I'm poly. I'm a swinger. I said, so I just want you to be aware of that. And I'm really not sure, that's something I want to bring you into. And he got angry because he's like, He's like, I was fucking you first, and now you go and fuck all these people at these parties, but you don't want to fuck me. You know how I fuck you. You know it's good. I don't understand. And like for days, he was texting me and over and over again going, I don't understand what the problem is. You'll fuck anybody, but you won't fuck me. What's the problem? And I was just like, I don't just fuck anybody. I said, we had our time together years ago. I knew that was not a relationship I wanted to re-explore. If anything, he was going to be a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And that's really not what I'm looking for these days, unless I'm in a party setting.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. I want the relationships like I have with the people in my circle. And he couldn't understand. I said, you have to understand, I have people that I'm in relationships with for over 6 years. I said, so I'm not just fucking anybody. These are people that I've had long-term relationships with. I said, I am full. I do not need any more relationships. I said, I am not interested in at this time. I was very nice. And he just could not understand why I would fuck anybody but not him. Or how much I tried to explain it.
And that was a monogamous relationship. Let's clear that air, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a relationship. We
you
were
were
friends
monogamous
with
there, right? You were monogamous then.
No, I was fucking anybody I wanted to at that point. There was no commitment. We would just hook up from time to time, once a week or whatever. And we didn't have like a relationship at all. He was kind of like my little boy toy at the time. And even after all of that, he texted me like 3 weeks ago again and was like, hey, can we have coffee? And I'm just like, no is no, man. Like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice, but I am not interested at this time.
Yeah. I love both of the times when I rejected those men. I used the vocabulary, I'm polysaturated. And they both looked at me like, what the fuck is that shit means? They knew I rejected them, but they didn't know what it meant, you know?
Right. And if you don't live in this world, you don't know what that means. But for me, it was the fact that if I didn't tell him I was poly and a swinger, he would have been able to accept my no. I truly believe that, because in the past, when I ended our relationship, I told him it was ending. Well, calling it a relationship, it wasn't, but whatever. Calling what we had, when I ended it, he accepted it and he moved on. But now, because I told him I was non-monogamous and I was a swinger and I was poly, he was not able or willing to accept my no. So I know he's capable because he's done it in the past. But as soon as he found that information out, no longer meant no.
So double standards, I wanted to point it out. For men, praised for options, and for women, questioned for having them. I love that.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That does happen, I think. I think there is a double standard. I think we're slut shamed sometimes, right? I think, men, right? If they're told no, I mean, if men say no, I don't think they're shamed into saying yes. But people think they could shame us into saying yes. And I don't know. I'm too old and stuck in my ways and strong and independent to be shamed into doing anything I don't want to do at this point in my life.
Yeah. So you actually basically explained the emotional labor of explaining boundaries to a man who is not understanding our relationships format.
Right.
And they are not emotionally able to understand because they're not emotionally intelligent.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think that's taking a big leap.
Emotionally intelligent in the vocabulary of ethical non-monogamy.
Right. They don't.
I'm not talking about them being not emotionally, educated. I'm talking
Yes.
about specific topic, which sex, right? How simple that is. Yes or no. There's no gray area. What do you mean you don't want me? I'm all
Right.
that. Yeah. What do you mean? You've known me. I have performed for you before. I'm going to do it again. So what is wrong with you? Why do you choose those men after me? Not what you know of who I am.
Right. Why won't you take me back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's very difficult to explain that to somebody who doesn't live in our world, because our world is very difficult to understand, right? It sounds like we're just in it for the sex when we're not. We're in it for the friendships, the relationships, meeting the people. Even if it's a short connection that I have with somebody at a party and I chatted up with them for 5 minutes and I like their personality or whatever, in that moment, it's my choice. Like, I could tell them no, just like I told him no, right? And let me tell you, there's usually more no's than yeses, because I have to feel comfortable with the person, unless we happen to roll into each other and then we end up fucking. But, I mean, in the moment, whatever. But, for me, I was surprised at the way he behaved. I was disappointed because I thought I knew him. And like I said, in the past, when I said no more, he accepted it. And now that I was like, hey, I'm non-monogamous, no longer meant no. And that was eye-opening for me, right? Because I
I'll
had
give you a
never.
hug later. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we both need hugs after,
Yeah, definitely.
experiencing this. And I think people who are non-monogamous, the consent is so strong and so important. And we meet more and more people who are doing relationships the way we do. Even if they're swingers, they're enjoying building the friendships. And, we all have our one night stands and our wham bam, thank you, ma'ams, because that's part of the thrill. But also part of the thrill is finding those friends and, as you say, finding your flock and developing those bonds that you don't really develop in monogamy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I do want to share something that happened with me recently that was I am proud of myself as I'm learning and walking this path of unknown for me, because there's no book to open. Pinky, page 27, third year in. Read this.
This is how it's going to go.
I know. This is before you're going to go away. So I went away a couple of weeks ago with the poly community. I was with one of my partners, and the night got, hot and whatever. So he was with somebody, doing whatever he was doing with somebody else. And we were dancing, and I was dancing with somebody. And then the other guy came from nowhere. I have no idea what happened. He just showed up, and we were dancing, he and I. And then later on, it just got really hot. Like, we were kissing, just him and I, and just really hot. No, so I just decided to, you know what? I'm going to step outside and see how it goes. So we stepped outside and we just chatted for a little bit. He's younger, a really cute guy and musician and really flowy,
That's
whatever.
sexy.
So we continue kissing and whatever. And we just you know what? I just said to myself, I want to do this.
And so pinky-like.
Right. I want to do this. I felt very attracted to him. I have no idea what his name was. He told me, I forgot. It was just dark at 2:00 in the morning.
It didn't matter at that point.
No, it did not. I was like, oh my God. So we had really, really good connection. He literally jerked me off, fingering me, and I was just gushing within a few minutes before we got to do anything, before we moved on to I said, okay, we have to find a spot. So we went to his car and it was amazing. It was really nice. He actually opened up to me later on, and he talked about his, I told him, I'm a sapiosexual goddess and I need you to get into my head before anything flows. But that was an experience, and I'm so happy that it happened, that I'm able to just jump in and just do things with somebody who I don't know at all. And it was so wonderful.
You've come a long way, baby.
He did. And he told me the same thing. He's like, I really don't do that much. I don't know how true or not true that is for him. I have no idea. But his texts were really powerfully honest to me, what I felt.
After the fact.
After the
Correct.
fact, right? Because
Yes.
we talked about it. So then we would keep texting to each other because we're in the same community. And I said to him, I told him more about who I am and what I do and how I do things and whatever. And he never heard of, he heard about swinging, but he never heard of poly. He's more musician. He's a musician in the poly community who ended up, being in the same camp, adult camp. So I explained to him what it is and how we do things. And he thought for a day. He says, can you give me some time to think about it?
Wow.
I said, yes, please go ahead. So I explained to him, like, the way we do things is, he's like, oh, in the beginning, he misunderstood because I didn't give him descriptions of what it is. He said, oh, yeah, just like, we can fuck anytime, it's great. And I'm like, no. This is what I'm talking about. It's an emotional connection. It's a relationship. And it's a lot of communication, like about things that you might not be comfortable about. So he's like, can I think about it? So he thought about it and he came back to me the next day and he said, you know what? I don't have capacity for this right now. And actually, to tell the truth, I didn't have a capacity for that either. But I was like, the fuck was good,
It was an experience.
Yeah, it was really in the moment, and that's gonna stay in the moment. And we might see each other here and there in the community, but I'm not chasing anymore. And I wanted to say, like, when I first started doing this, I only knew how to do relationships one way,
Mm-hmm.
and you dive in deep. And I've burned so fast because I was diving in so deeply.
Oh, you were driving yourself cray.
I was crazy. Yeah. And I'm proud of myself. I'm looking back right now. I'm actually talking with somebody who I've had, fling, whatever. And like many years later, looking back and saying, you know what? This was an experience. And I'm so happy. I am not reaching out to you right now for anything more. Just to say, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a great experience. And I love that.
It was such a learning experience. I feel like you needed to go through that experience to be where you are today.
Yeah. And we're talking about Peter. And he really, really wanted to experiment and show that he was able to show up, but he couldn't. And I just heard that today. He texted to me this morning. And he said that he felt really bad that he hurt me. And I felt so like, oh, I told him, like, I thought you don't have a heart.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah, but he's like, no. He's like, I really feel bad that I hurt you. And I'm like, you know what? And I gave him benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt was, for me, what I saw is that he really tried and he just couldn't. And this road is not for everybody. I always tell people, this shit is hard. You really have to dive into depth of who you are. What is your values? Where are your boundaries? Where do you stand about all this stuff? And you have to dissect like a fucking frog and it hurts. You really have to dive deep.
You do. And like, I had a conversation with one of my partners today, somebody I've been with for 6.5 years. And we're very open and honest with each other with what we do. And he knows that I'm in a relationship with Ramon. And he also knows that I went away with PD this weekend. So while he and I disclose everything to each other, I know he has another partner. He knows I have my 5 partners. We talk about all that stuff. He was surprised that I told Ramon that I went away with PD this weekend. And I'm like, why not? I'm like, everything is open. Everything is disclosed. So even people who are non-monogamous don't always understand it. He's been non-monogamous longer than me. And like I said, we have a relationship where we feel we can share everything with each other. He likes to hear my escapades. He tells me about his other girlfriend and what they do, all that kind of stuff. But he thought that was like unique to him and I, when that's how I operate with everybody. And let me tell you, it was such a fucking delicious weekend with PD.
Yoo-hoo, PD, we love you.
We love you, PD. So delicious. It was so delicious that after we finished having sex, I could barely speak. And I said a word that was incredible, crazy, and amazing all together. It just kind of like fumbled out of my mouth, and I was like, that was amazing. Because I just couldn't like put the words together, but oh my fucking God. It was so delicious.
So do you want to tell people who don't know what PD stands for?
Pussy destroyer.
He's not pussy destroyer. In my vocabulary, I name him Nirvana lover, okay? So
Listen, I have to say, I feel like he and I had more of a Nirvana lover moment with some PD thrown in, because it was so fucking passionate that we just could not get enough of each other in that moment. It was so good.
yeah, he's delicious. He's undeniably delicious, and he's a beautiful soul. So that's what we're trying to. I think this whole thing is about dissecting that people. It's not for everybody, and whoever we involved with, they just open and roll, motherfucker. As hard as the shit is, they open and they roll and they come to us, and they just want to please us. And what happens with us, because we feeling that love and affection, and I know a lot of people would have the issues with word love. I'm talking about like
passion,
divine love, passion, desire, care, so much care to details, like, and just really making sure that we are satisfied, number one. And what happens with us, because we are actually givers, we want to give that back to them double, 3 times over. And that just goes back and forth. And it's just like this wonderful interaction of an engagement.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
It's a give and take. And there's no like, I didn't get enough. Whatever. How many times did you climax? There's no such a thing. It's all about being in the moment and just freely experiment and explore and allow ourselves to just be happy. We are such a wonderful creatures. And I wish I could scream to the world of like, guys and girls, goddesses and warriors, have a lot more fucking sex, okay? Because it's so fucking amazing when you release that. We go through the day, and some of us are working in the settings that are tough. And what happens throughout the day, we build up that tension. What is the best way to release it, motherfucker? Sex. Turn off the fucking TV and fuck the shit out of him. Get on top of him and just go at it, And if you can't do it this way, do any other way you want it to. It does not have to be fucking hard as I want to, because I love fucking them when I'm on top. I love grinding, and I also love like really like squatting, like and he's holding my ass and he's helping me to rise me up and down. But I also love grinding, and also when he moves me back and forth. Oh my God. Ugh. Delicious.
I really like when they're behind me, but they just stand still and they let me do all the work from there.
Yeah.
That's so good. So, I mean, for us, the moral of the story has always been quality over quantity. And I think that's the message that the people who think we're just going to fuck anybody really needs to hear. It's not about quantity. It's about the quality of our relationships, whether it's a relationship for a moment in time or it's a relationship for 6.5 fucking years.
Yeah. And going strong.
Even one engagement, you're having an intimate relationship in that moment. Right. So whether it's that quickie or it's a 6.5-year relationship, it's all about the quality, and it's not just about getting your fuck on.
Yeah, and there's hardships, like one of my partners, Osprey, was away for 4 weeks. Holy shit. In my notebook, in my calendar, I wrote it down when he's coming back. However, I have undiagnosed ADHD. So I see 6 as a 9, and I thought he's coming back on the 16, but he's coming back on the 19. So by the 17 on the day, because I haven't heard from him, he was in Europe for a couple of weeks, and I asked him, can you please every week just send me a heart emoji of something that you're alive and you're kicking? He's not done that because he's the guy who told me from the beginning, and I love that. That was his boundary. I love
so
that.
Honest.
When I'm with you, I am fully present. And I know in my heart that is the reality because I felt that over and over again. And when I'm not with you, I am fully present where I am. So I'm very like anti-phone, even though he's, businessman and he's like, there's so much going on in his life, parenting, whatever, so it's like, I knew that in my heart that he's doing something that he loves, right? Traveling, whatever, business, whatever. Yet I haven't heard from him. So I was flipping.
Yes, you were.
By Wednesday, I was like, hey, can you please call me? So I'm actually taking a photography class now because that's my next step. I'm moving into the world of photography. Have some goals over here and objectives.
Stay tuned.
So yeah, I have some things that I'm working on. And he called me from Europe and I couldn't answer because I was like, I can't. So later on, he's like, babe, I'm returning tomorrow. It was 19. I was like, oh. And then I apologize, and then we revisited when he came over to me yesterday, like I had a little emotional part and I was like, can you please do that for me when you're away for such a long time? 4 weeks is a long fucking time.
Who are you telling? I'm going through the same thing over here. Ramon is gone for 4 weeks and he is stopping home for 1 day. And will he be able to make it to come over and see me? And he is coming over tomorrow. So I'm so excited because I can't imagine going a full 4 weeks plus actually without seeing him. So I'm going to jump on top of him so hard tomorrow, not only because I haven't seen him for 2 weeks, but to hold me over for the next 2 weeks. Thank goodness for this brief stopover. But I get it. It's like when you're used to seeing somebody regularly, it's like you do miss them.
Yeah, and my whole body was just like gushing yesterday, like completely, like everywhere he touched me, I was just like, I was squirting so much, it was ridiculous.
And can I just say to Mr. Anthony, who I know will be listening to this while he's editing, I'm missing you too because we have not had our one-on-one time in a little bit. So hop on my calendar because we have some catching up to do.
I love that. I have so much compersion right now.
I've just been busy bees. So we haven't bumped into each other quite enough. So come to me. Come.
Okay. I wanted to talk about this from this book that I'm holding in my hands right now. And it's More Than Two by Eva Records and Andrew Zanen. Cultivating Non-Monogamous Relationship with Kindness and Integrity. I'm going to try to go briefly. So they talk about boundaries and what it is that means for them. I will not be involved with someone who is not open and honest with all of their other partners about dating me. I will not have unbarriered sex with partners whose sexual behavior does not fall within my level of acceptable sexual health risks. I will not become involved with somebody who is not already committed to non-monogamy. I will not remain in relationships with a partner who threatens me or uses violence. I will choose the level of closeness I want with my others' partners, subject to their consent. I will not be in a relationship with a partner who accepts me to remain closeted. Woo-hoo! How do you like that?
Those are some really good examples of boundaries. And I feel like people who think we just fuck anybody because we're non-monogamous think we've thrown all our boundaries out the window. And I kind of feel like it's the complete opposite. I mean, being non-monogamous has really taught me what my boundaries are and allowed me
I just want to say that. Oh my God, you just took that out of my mouth.
to really stay true to them.
Yeah, because most of my adult life, I was with somebody and I was afraid of telling them what I wanted because I didn't want them to walk away from me. Remember we talked about that? And
yes.
now I don't need to hold on to anybody. If you want to be a part of my life, you're going to understand what I want and what my boundaries are. And if you're not fitting into my boundaries, it's okay. I'm not for you and you're not for me. And it's totally fine. It's just not for everybody. You know, I actually ended my a year and a half relationship recently over the last 3 weeks. And I felt like we were not fitting anymore.
Yeah. You were tortured over that. It wasn't a decision that you made lightly.
No, it took a while because there were feelings involved, but I felt like I was not being heard and respected. And that's exactly what talk about boundaries, being heard and respected. I did not feel like I was valued the way I think I should be valued.
And that's huge because I think both of us have been in relationships before where we didn't feel respected. And now for me, that is a must. Like I cannot feel in any way disrespected. And if I do, then we're not going to be able to engage. And I'm definitely not having sex with you if I feel disrespected.
He didn't do anything like violence or anything. It's just a perspective of where we were going as a couple. That's
How
what
he
I'm
was
talking
making
about.
you feel.
Yeah. It's just this is not for everybody. And if you really, and that's why I would say I love that they say I will not become involved with someone who is not already committed to non-monogamy. That is where the part was for me, the sticky part with this guy. He wanted to walk the walk.
Learning that. I think you're learning that now.
Yeah. And I am a fucking fixer. I can fix you. Bring it on, baby. I can fix you, motherfucker. I can fix people. Let them. Mel Robbins, thank you so much. Let them. Let me. I'm releasing the control. I'm allowing myself to breathe through discomfort. And I'm concentrating on me.
So with that, I think, like we said before, the moral of the story is quality over quantity. And no means no, whether you're monogamous or non-monogamous. So Anthony and Pinky have a very exciting trip coming up. I'm so jello. I don't get to go yet again. You guys are headed to Naughty in New Orleans.
Yeah. This is our third year.
Yes, I got to go last year and it was amazing. And I can't wait to hear all the stories that you guys come back with. I'm super excited for you.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I love going there. It's going to be really, really cool to meet the people that we already know and meeting new people. And now they're expanding. It's like 2.5 hotels takeover, and Pinky's still going to be freaking out, but it's totally fine.
Pinky will survive. I know it.
Yeah, I'm always surviving, but I wanted to experiment more this time.
You may surprise us. Look what you did when you were just away.
I know.
Had a fuck it moment. Who knows? You might have a fuck it moment in New Orleans. I cannot wait to find out. And if you do, you have to let me know immediately. I don't care what time it is.
Wow.
You have to text me.
Wow.
Be like, I had a fuck it moment.
Yep.
I had a fuck it moment.
Yep. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be an amazing experience. We'll bring it all in to you guys first-handed.
We'll get to hear all the salacious stories together. I can't wait. So after they return, like a month later, a little bit more than a month, Miss Pinky and I and Ramon are headed, the three of us are headed to a Tantra festival.
I can't believe you say those words. I can't
believe I say those words. I mean, let me just say, the two of them got me to go initially because I thought Tantra meant kinky sex. Obviously, I was not educated in the ways of Tantra. I mean, while it's a component, but it is not the major focus. I just thought Tantra meant bend me up into a pretzel and let's fuck, kind of like Kama Sutra-esque. I did not realize I was going to go to align my chakras and make eye contact with strangers when I can't even make eye contact with my own partners. However, I am being open-minded.
Oh, I love
and
you.
Because of Pinky and because of Ramon, I am willing to learn new things where in the past I would have been like, fuck that.
Wait. I have to stop you.
Yes, please.
Fuck Pinky. Thank God to Ramon. that he's going. You would have never, ever gotten to go with me. Never. Never. You would be running away from it.
Yes, but you have made me more open-minded.
I prepared you, it's like a molding, like
Yes.
I have my bachelor's, and my bachelor's was in ceramics, and it's like
Yep.
clay, so I molded you. I
You
prepared you for
molded
his
me
arrival,
into a
and then he arrived, and he just shocked the shit out of you. And now
yes.
those kind of words, fascination and lust and maybe love, maybe not. I'm not
Stay
saying
tuned.
those words, but has something to do with him wanting to go there because he's been there before, and he introduced this to us. And I said, yes, I'm going. And you're like, huh? What? Okay. And now you understand what it is because he's been working with you. He's doing the eye contact. He's holding you in the space. He's asking you to breathe with him. All those beautiful things are just the beginning of what that to come. Yes. Love this guy. Love it.
We have done some affirmations together just so I can learn to be comfortable with some of the things they're going to ask me to be doing. I joke about it, that I'm going to align my chakras and I don't even know what a chakra is, but I am very much looking forward to Pinky's laughing at me. I am very much looking forward to experiencing something very new and very different with you and Ramon.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being open-minded and loving the journey and not having preconceived ideas or whatever something you were born and raised in, whatever it is from before.
Yes. I was never raised to think like this.
Yeah, it's totally out of your comfort zone and you're just pushing it through. And I know it takes the dick to do that, not the pussy. But I still, you know what? It's funny when she used to fight with me when I would talk about this stuff, like tantra and stuff. She'll be like, "But this is it," and whatever. But I think gradually, I just like a water over the stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like smoothen the corners around you, and you started to listen a little more, and you started to get curious.
It was no longer a foreign concept. I was learning that there's other people who do this, not just Pinky in her Pinky world, that, people find value in these things. And, I joke, I said to Ramon, how long is it going to take for them to kick me out when they find out I don't believe in the power of manifestation? And he's like, but you don't understand. He's like, you are a great manifester.
You manifested him.
Oh, not only did I manifest him, but he's like, you manifested the life you built for yourself.
Yes.
You're a single mom with a great career and your own home. And he's like, you take care of your child independently. He's like, you don't understand. You've manifested all of this. I think it's hard work and dedication. He says that's part of manifestation.
Yes.
So I'm opening my mind to these things and opening to learn about them some more. And like I said, I think us all sharing a new experience for me is going to be very good for all of us. And you guys are just going to be in your glory because this is totally your jam.
I must tell you that it takes two. It takes a dreamy kind of mind, a muse, because you had an idea that you wanted to have what kind of life you have right now, right? Yes. And then you pursued it by action. So what we are always talking about it, what I always talk about it, you can't just dream, because this podcast was a dream. And until you two came back to me and say to me that we're going to do it, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a reality. So that's what I'm saying. And you are not giving enough yourself a credit when the credit is earned. Okay. That is something comes from whatever it is coming
life.
From.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Life and whatever experiences. But it's recognition of this moment, of this particular moment that we're telling to the world that ever more have gotten. You have to give yourself the credit when the credit is earned. You worked very hard and you were deserving this kind of life right now. And it's not because it's beautiful flowers or the sunny day or whatever. You worked your ass off.
Thank you.
And I love you. And I'm still going to give you a big hug.
I love you too. I can't wait to see you.
I know.
We need to squeeze.
Mwah.
So with that, everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. And stay tuned to hear salacious stories from Naughty in New Orleans and our adventures at Tantra Fest. So we look forward to sharing all of that with you. See you soon, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Stay salacious.
That's my line. She keeps stealing it. Stay salacious.
You keep forgetting it.